Picking up where we left off, we look at some similar triangles. And similar triangles means the sides match up. So if you have a sides of 2, 3, and 4, and another triangle over here that's bigger with sides of 12, and they say they're proportional, and 12 is the longest side, then you just start matching up sides and writing a proportion. So 4 is to 12, and let's just say that this side is x as 3 is to x. So to solve proportion, cross multiply, get 4x equals 36, x equals 9. So that would get that side. Now you can look at 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 2 is 6 if you needed that side. So you'll get lots of proportions. Just remember, you can really line them up any way you want. It does not matter as long as you're consistent. So you could have even done over here, you could have said 4 is to 3, working on this side of the triangle, as longest side is to next biggest side. You cross multiply these, you get 4x equals 36, and you're right back where you started. So just set a proportion and run with it. It really doesn't matter how you set it up as long as you're consistent with what you set up. Triangle sides theorem has popped up a few times in the last few years. They'll say a triangle with sides 7 and 11. What's the biggest side that can have? Well, what they're saying when they say the biggest side, if I took the triangle and I made the side that's 7 and the side that's 11 just barely bent, what's the biggest this side could be? Well, if you say 7 plus 11 is 18, it has to be just a little bit less than 18. So it could be 17.9. And the other question I'll ask is, what is the smallest triangle you can build? Well, then you have to envision the 11 here and the 7 being built right back across it. So that's 7. So this would be a little bit bigger than 4. So x would have to be just bigger than 4. It could be 4.1. I've seen that one a few times the last few years. It's tricky, but just common sense it out. You're looking at a triangle. If you line them up lengthwise, means 18 is your max size. If you line them up against each other, means 4 is your max size. Pythagorean triples pop up all over. The most common are 3, 4, 5, and there's more than that. We'll come back to that. 5, 12, 13, 7, 24, 25, 8, 15, 17, 9, 40, 41. And they'll often do multiples, so multiples also work. 6, 8, 10, 9, 12, 15, so on and so on. And all that means for any triple, let's just pull any one of them out. We'll do this one. Is that 8 squared plus 15 squared equals 17 squared. It means they line up on the sides of a right triangle. So this would be 17, this would be 15, this would be 8. And if you know that, you can save some time, like we talked about previously. Saving time is good. You spend 20 seconds on this problem redoing it. You could use that for the harder problem that's coming up later in the exam. If you don't know them, it's really not that big a deal. It does not take that much more time, but it can save some time. So that was all the analytical geometry on the exam. We also have statistics stuff. Mean and average just means add them up. What's the average of 9, 10, 11, and 12? Yeah, let's not make it that easy. And 14, well, you go 9 plus 10 plus 11 plus 14, and you divide by however many there are, 4 items. The question you'll get on the exam will never be that straightforward. They'll always say the average equals some number, and what would this number be to make the average a certain number? So you just have to write out the formula and solve it. The median is the value that's in the middle of the list. So if you list 2, 3, 7, 12, 18, notice they're in order, smallest to biggest. That would be the median. So it's just like lining up people and saying, give me the person with the size that's in the middle of the list. If you get a even numbered list, 2, 3, 7, 8, 12, 18, it'd be the average of these two, so it would actually be 7.5. Mode is the most common one. If you're looking for mode, You had a data set of 2, 3, 3, 6, 7, 8, 8. The mode would be 6, because there's 3 different values that say 6. And counting principles come back to probabilities and odds are simply ratios. What's the probability of pulling a white marble if you have 3 white marbles and 5 blue marbles in a bag? Probability is 3 out of 8. And the odds are just 3 to 5. Very rare you see odds. I haven't seen it on any exams, so I would not worry about it. But you will have to do probability. And finally, the counting principle, which pops up fairly often. It just says if I have 3 different shirts, 2 different pants, and 4 different shoes, how many possible outfits could I have? 3 times 2 times 4, 24 different outfits. You'll see this in lots of different ways. How many different combinations of numbers if it's a 3-digit number? Well, there's 10 choices here, 10 choices here, 10 choices here. That'd be 100 different possible ways. So they don't really disguise that one much, but be aware. It'll pop up. And it's a pretty quick, easy problem if you know what's coming. Inequalities, very easy. They're expecting you to screw up, and they probably put something like this in, less than or greater than. Yeah, I'll make it, yeah. So distribute, don't forget to distribute the negative. So we're just solving it like a normal equation. Now finally, the part to watch out for, if they're dividing by a negative, only dividing. Notice we subtracted here and we did not flip the sign. Then you have to flip the sign. And for these, they'll put you on a number line quite often, put you at 5/12. They make the dot and they fill in this part of the line, and since it's a equal then, they fill in the dot. If it was non-equal then, the dot would have stayed open. Coordinate geometry is all over the exam. Just draw your coordinate plane. They'll say we have y equals 1/2 x plus 2. Which one of the following is on that line? Well, draw your plane and draw it as quickly yet accurately as possible, and you'll find it'll solve most of your problems. So 1/2 x plus 2. So you go up 2, up 1 over 2, down 1 over 2. And they'll give you a list of points, and you'll be able to say, oh, I just went out here and 2, 3, it's on the list. Check it off and you move on. So draw a coordinate geometry plane whenever possible. That'll pop up in a few others. Just showed you how to graph a line. If you don't know, you need to review that. But one of the things that pop up is they'll say, what's the equation of this line here? And I'll put them in different colors. What's the equation of the purple line? What's the equation of the green line? So watch out. Vertical line, x equals. And what is it? 1, 2, 3. 1 over to 3, there it is. Green line, y equals -2. A lot of people don't know their vertical and horizontal lines. They love to throw that on a test, see who's been paying attention.